I thought I would start off by just talking about the gaps, the disparities that we have in this country. A lot of us woke up this morning, had a nice hot bath or shower, and we got into our nice and sometimes fancy cars which had heaters on, and we came to the conference. And look, clearly, if we look at where we are and look at a lot of people that live in this country, they don't have the kind of luxuries that you and I have. So this country still faces massive structural challenges, which raises the issue of, if we're going to make CSI matter, what role should you and I play? What role should our organizations play? And how can we truly benefit those people who are not as privileged as we are? You just touch on some of the structural challenges, and I'll flip through this very quickly. Starting off with the Gini coefficient, that's a difference in the earnings gap between the haves and the have-nots. You will see the red bar there that South Africa has one of the largest Gini coefficients. So the gaps between those people who have and those people who don't have is one of the largest. And in fact, if you look at the more developing countries, the bigger developing countries, we are the worst when it comes to that. We are ahead of Brazil, we are ahead of a lot of other countries that face similar kind of conditions. And you then go on to look at some of the issues that we face, the level of unemployment that we have in the country, especially that affects the youth. Because in this country, more than 35% of people between the ages of 19 to 34 are unemployed, which poses significant challenges for us as a country. And if you look at just the level of people who are even trying to eke out a living, who are self-employed, we have a very low level of self-employment as well. So even those people who are not able to get into formal employment, who are able to start their own businesses, we're not really doing well as a country in that area. And it's estimated that by 2015, we could actually face a situation where more than half of the adult working life population is actually unemployed. If you just project in an economy which is growing at a rate of around 3 to 3.5%, you look at the people that are either getting out of schooling or that are dropping out of schooling, and you extrapolate the labor absorption capacity that the country has, suddenly you quickly get to a very depressing statistics, which indicates that we have a very large number of people. And you just look at this graph here, which shows the different categories based on the level of education. The bottom, the blue bars, are the ones that show those people who have not even got matric. And you see that in terms of unemployment and the unemployment profile, there's a large number of those people who don't have matric. But you know, when I was young, if you had a matric, you almost got guaranteed that you could find employment. These days, a matric, which is those reddish bars there, does not really increase your chance of getting employment. But it doesn't only stop there. The green bars indicate those people who have tertiary education qualifications who are unemployed. Clearly in this country, one of the challenges that we have is that we produce skills that do not match the demands of the economy, that do not match the demands that the employment environment actually is looking for. So we have a huge challenge because we may be spending a lot of money in education, and this country has one of the largest spends on education relative to our total budget in government, but clearly we are not yet successful in dealing with the problem of unemployment. Now, if you look at education, I mean, clearly you'll see that the bulk of the people who are unemployed are African and colored. Because if you look at the statistics, just in terms of those people who are in formal employment or in gainful employment, and you stratify it in terms of the different race categories, it's quite clear that the problem of unemployment is much more serious when it comes to African and colored people. Now, the government has stepped in here by providing social grants. It's estimated that we have close to 16 million people today that are getting social grants of one kind or the other. There could be child grants, there could be disability grants, or there could be pension grants. But what it's actually creating is an environment where our government is spending a significant amount of money that could be doing other things, that could be going into investment by supporting and creating a safety net for those people who are unemployed or people who are destitute. But it creates a skewness as well, because if as a country we are spending today 35% of the government budget on salaries and wages as well as social grants, it means that as a country, our ability to drive the growth in our economy is limited. And if you consider the fact that less than 6 million people support about 16 million people in terms of taxes that you and I pay, clearly you find that this environment is not sustainable. So as a country, we've got to do something to change this picture.